Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second episode of Remembering World War One. Now, as you can tell from the map and the title of the video, we are looking at a country that actually still exists, that being Australia. And I don't have too much else to say in this intro, so let us get into the meat of this episode burger. Now, in order for us to fully contextualize the Commonwealth of Australia's role in World War One, we have to look at what Australia was like in 1914. So, in 1914, Australia was seemingly, as always, not so much back then, but nowadays it certainly does seem to always be the case, under the control of the Liberal Party. And they had been in control since the 24th of April 1913. And their leader, Mr. Joseph Cook, was Prime Minister. Cook had been born on December 7th, 1860, and at the time was 54. No, not 54, 53, sorry. But, anyway, on the 4th of August 1914, Britain went to war with Germany, and Mr. Cook and his opponent, his political opponent, Andrew Fisher, who had previously been Prime Minister twice, they both pledged their complete and total support of Britain. This came in the middle of an election campaign, and everyone was very happy about this whole thing, which, as usual, whenever people are really enthusiastic about there being a massive conflict that will probably leave millions of people widows or widowers or orphans, it's kind of confusing to try and understand people's enthusiasm. But anyway, however, Joseph Cook would lose the aforementioned election campaign, and this would signal the changing of administration, logically. By default, really. So, on the 27th of September 1914, Andrew Fisher, leader of the Australian Labor Party, who had previously been Prime Minister twice before, became Prime Minister for the third and final time. He would hold the position for the next year until he was succeeded by William Hughes, both as leader of the Labour Party and of the entire country itself. Now, William Morris Hughes, or Billy Hughes as he's better known, was the Prime Minister for the remainder of the First World War, and for indeed another 5 years after the end of said war. And his tenure was mostly characterized by his advocation of conscription. In case you do not know what conscription is, essentially the process where names are basically drawn out of a hat to see who's gonna fight for their country in some god-forsaken land against some Turkish people in really really strange hats. They'd end up looking more like a Cadbury Favourites bucket than actual bloody headwear. But in other than that, it was rather uneventful mostly, which was kind of good because his predecessor's tenure, that being Fisher, during his tenure, there had been one of the worst military screw-ups of all time, known as Gallipoli. But if anything else, Gallipoli did give us some nice biscuits. That's a bit materialistic, though, isn't it? Considering the thousands of people that died. But anyway, from 1916 to 1917, nothing really happened on the Western Front, which is where everything was kind of going down. It wasn't like World War II, for instance, where you had Pacific theater and European theater, African theater. Well, I guess you did have the Middle Eastern campaign, but that wasn't the main thing. So a lot of people died. It was basically a stalemate. Obviously, trench warfare. Conditions were disgusting, awful, just really bad. However, there was the Battle of Hamel on the 4th of July 1918, which gave people other than Americans reason to celebrate the 4th of July. And they continued to advance from August until eventually October. And the month later, of course, Germany surrendered on the 11th of November. And that is essentially Australia's losses throughout the war. Well, role in the war. Their losses. It's still one of the costliest of all time. One of the costliest conflicts that Australia has ever partaken in. Partook. There were less than 5 million people at that time, and 416,809 men enlisted, and more than 60,000 of those were killed, which is unfortunate, but that's the way war goes, my friends. As for Billy Hughes, his tenure, there was obviously throughout the 20s basically a worldwide period of prosperity everywhere. If you spell the world without Germany, because let's face it, Germany got a bit fucked really by the whole Treaty of Versailles thing. But anyway, as for Hughes, he managed to keep serving as Prime Minister until 1923, when he was succeeded by Stanley Bruce from the Nationalist Party. But that's not what we're entirely really here to talk about today, so I'll just kind of leave it there. However, Hughes did, even after he stopped being Prime Minister, he managed to live for another 29 years, dying on October 28th, 1952, in Sydney at the age of 90. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been the second episode of Remembering World War One. I hope you enjoyed. Next time, I believe we'll be having a look at Andorra. I think. Probably. Don't quote me on that, though. So, until next time, my friends, goodbye. I will see you in the next one. And remember, the old man... Remember, it's raining, it's pouring. The old man is raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring. He went to raining and pouring, and couldn't get up in the Malcolm X. Probably none of you even understand what I just said, including myself. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good one. Have a nice life. Remember to keep breathing. It's very helpful. Trust me, it's very helpful. So goodbye.